everyone. It's John Galante, president of AE Ventures, and we're here for episode number 3 of our Zillow New Constructions Builder Innovator Trendline series. I'm joined as ever by my co-stars Qadra Evans and Scott Rohrig from Zillow New Construction, and our topic today is optimizing digital new home listings. So let's jump right into what the purpose of this episode will be. And what we've been working on for many, many years, but especially the last 5 years, is how do we get to new home advantages versus used homes, right? And home shoppers, the majority of them, we all know they're going to be online doing their pre-research, but the majority of them are going to start at a listing website, right? Because it gives them a broad view of the properties available in an area. Most are open to both resale and new construction. And so there's a key question here, which is how do we compete at that first point of sale? Because we could get cut out of the process at the very beginning. And we will if we're showing dirt versus 35 professionally shot images at used homes. So our purpose today is to walk through some examples of excellence, some great executions from home builders. It's going to be on the Zillow platform. That may seem commercial, but it is the 800-pound gorilla in new home listing platforms. I've got the great co-stars to walk me through these examples. Scott's going to do the play-by-play, kind of walk us through these examples. Qadra's going to provide color commentary, and I will make zinger, smart aleck comments and occasionally ask a question.
Before, Scott, you take off, I'm really glad that you mentioned that, John. We're showing you Zillow listings, but these are best practices for any place that you're showing up online, right, Scott?
Yep, exactly. And we could be here all day, because there are so many builders that are doing it right and doing it well online, and especially on Zillow. But just because we don't have that much time together, we're only going to feature 3 today.
Very politically correct. Starting with my smart aleck remarks right off the bat.
I love it. The peanut gallery from the get-go. You want to start with this slide? We've seen this before on your show and in many times in the past this year. You know, there's interest when it comes to new construction. And to your point, we've got the eyeballs and people are starting out. They're starting their searches on the portals, and 42% reported to us that were looking for new construction. These buyers, they said that 42% were only interested in new construction homes. And that's actually a trend we're seeing grow year after year. I think it was like 6 percentage points last year and maybe 10 percentage points from 2021 and in previous years. So the eyeballs are there, the momentum is there. So the goal there is to have your listings showing up and looking as good as they can as they stand up next to resale listings and dirt and everything else that's online. You want to really put your best foot forward in this virtual world that you can.
42% prefer. It's growing. I interviewed an intern prospect this afternoon. I was talking to her about the point we made in our first episode, which is like, if you think time is precious, and she said, what I like about your company is you produce these events and you're very respectful of everybody's time. See, and I was like, if you value your time, buy a new home, because if you buy a used home, you're going to have repair and maintenance the equivalent of a second or third child. So we can even do better than 42% on preference if we communicate the right facts.
Yeah, this tells me that there's 58% still out there that we can capture. So 42% are like, yes, I'm bought into new construction. 58% don't quite know. And so part of it is showing up online and capturing their interest. And then, John, just what you were mentioning is we've really got to articulate the value of buying new construction.
All right. So when it comes to looking at these listings online, what do people want? And we've seen, and we continue to see crazy adoption in these online tools because they once became a nice to have, especially when it comes to floor plans and 3D tours. Those are really nice to have prior to the pandemic. And then 2020 happens and people really they were stuck in their homes. And you guys know the story. They really immersed themselves in online listings and envisioning their next home. And what allowed them to do that? floor plans, 3D tours, video tours, things like that. So now they're becoming table stakes. You've got to have this technology on your listings to really remain relevant in the online world. People are going online and they're actually filtering out on Zillow those listings that have 3D tours versus those that don't. And the ones that don't, obviously, are not even getting a second chance. Buyers are only focusing on those listings that have this type of technology. And we asked them, do you agree with these statements? I wish more online listings had 3D tours available. New construction buyers told us 72% said, yes, I wish that more listings had these. So there's a tremendous advantage for those people who are using this to gain those eyeballs that are already going to the portals in record numbers.
What's interesting too is if you look at, we've got on our consumer housing trends report, we kind of bucket buyers into generations. And right now, the biggest generation of buyers is millennials. Millennials grew up with this type of technology. They've got it for everything else they're shopping for. So why would they expect anything less than this technology when they're shopping for a home? And they're used to it and they demand it. So we need to be answering their call and giving them the tools that they want to do this research up front.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was on Amazon earlier today just looking at some furniture and other things, and they now have this technology where you can envision it or place it in your room. That type of 3D listing, immersive tech, even on when we're shopping. I mean, it's available on shoes and cars and everything else. Why wouldn't it be on the largest purchase that these people are going to make in their lifetime?
And I think when they say I prefer 3D tours, I think that's a function of convenience, right? I can have something that's close to being in person times 100, or go to 3 in-person tours. Having the convenience of getting multiple looks as part of a survey of a home buying, home market seems to probably is that driver for the preference, I would guess.
Well, and I think, that's a big part of it too. And I also look at it in another lens, and that is that this is almost like an assistant in qualifying a buyer. And, if you have someone who's found a floor plan online that they like and they're really interested and they're determined and they know that that's the home for me, and they walk into your sales center, think about the time that saved, your sales team and yourself when that highly qualified buyer, lead walks through your sales center door. It's a time saver for you as well. So this is the kind of technology that buyers are really craving when it comes to online listings. This is a tool that we have called Listing Media Services, and it incorporates 3D tours, floor plans, beautiful listing photos. This is the kind of stuff that people really want to go through as they're looking at potential spec homes or available homes in your communities. This is done by some of our photographers who go out and shoot it, and then through the help of AI, it stitches together a rudimentary floor plan that the prospective buyer can navigate through, and makes it very, very easy in that one, go round to look at a floor plan that someone may really connect with.
I like this too because it allows you to consume the data, the information, how you want to consume it. So you can do it in this 3D tour kind of way where you're walking through each room, or you also have the static photos that you can flip through as a photo carousel in each room that you walk through too. So it's kind of however your brain wants to get that information is what it allows you to do.
For a lot of folks, it's going to be multiple points of view on the evaluation, right? We've talked about how important the floor plan is in terms of it. Is that the right floor plan? And so there's like the 3D look at it, and does it feel right? And then there's that strategic bird's eye overview, like what are the sizes of the rooms, et cetera. And you guys have those two things side by side so people can toggle from kind of a metrics-based consideration of room sizes maybe to, this more visual review of the elements.
And you know what's really cool? We launched a feature earlier this year. It's called multi-association. So a builder can do this once. And then if they've got buildable plans that are the same floor plan as the model that they've built or whatever they've shot their original 3D tour on, they can associate that 3D tour on all their buildable plans. So talk about giving buyers a sense of what they would be purchasing and of how it would feel to be inside this home without the property ever being built.
There's a common denominator in all the builders that we're about to take a look at, and they're all using what we call promoted communities. And promoted communities is a tool specific to Zillow Group that really helps display new con listings in a much better light, more so than if those listings were to come, to the sites via MLS directly. So this is a tool that actually came out, I think, Qadra, 2016, where you really get the benefit of MLS data, but then as a builder, you can go above and beyond and really showcase what your community and your floor plans are all about.
Yeah, it's just, the MLS, it does a great job of getting all the data out there, but it wasn't created for new construction listings. And so promoted communities, it just like you said, Scott, it allows builders to go above and beyond and showcase the things that really are going to matter to a new construction buyer. So your community, what's that about? Your buildable plans, what do you have available right now that I might want to buy in your spec inventory? So it just gives just a little bit of an extra zhuzh, little bit of extra sparkle for new con listings.
Well, and to your point, online, I think as people, they're going in and they're looking for new construction specific homes, we talked about the 42%, on Zillow, when they're looking in an area, there's a specific tag in that metro area. So Denver, Colorado, where we live, you can see those that are advertising using promoted communities, it will show new construction. It'll have a tag on there. So, and then on the listing here that you can see in this example, there's prominent call to actions. There's buttons like that. We'll see some of the floor plans and the virtual tours that are embedded in there. They can see buildable plans. All these things, the more oomph, as you say, than if it were just coming via MLS.
It's very technical.
Shush.
Zhuzh.
What'd you say? Shush? Zhuzh. You spell that?
Very technical term.
No one knows that.
All right. So the first one that we're looking at today, and like I said, there's lots, but we have a select few that we want to highlight today. This is Keystone Custom Homes out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And these guys have been around for about 30 years, I think. Don't quote me on that. And they've got around 56 communities across the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast. And, we're pulling up some of their listings. They're doing a lot of things right, from available homes and plans to 3D tours, floor plan descriptions, so on and so forth, and great photography as well.
Are they building a larger community footprints that are kind of on the edge of civilization, so to speak, or are they building kind of infill cul-de-sac, or kind of all of the above?
Promoted communities is a product specifically for community builders, and we classify a community as anywhere where there are going to be 5 or more homes. So that kind of immediately eliminates any infill lots. That's just not the product.
Yeah. I think that when you're, building a new community on the outskirts, promoting the community itself becomes, a substantial obligation for the builder. Like, especially if some of the commercial and institutional building stock isn't quite in place yet, and they're wondering where they're going to shop, where the hospital's going to be, whether there's going to be a church of the denomination that they visit, nearby. Being able to tend to those questions along with the home product itself is it's a nice opportunity to have on a platform like this.
It's funny that you bring that up, John. And to support what you're saying, I was on a webinar last week, or maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, regardless, that talked about these master plan community builders and these developers, that how the importance of creating these locally inspired experiences to reflect, like regional history, I think was a term they used, and culture, really fostering this community pride and the connection that they've got. That's what a lot of people are looking for when it comes to buying.
Digital is really the only way to vision that in its final state, right? Like if they arrive in person, they're going to see a site they're going to see a lot of yellow tape. There are
a lot of dirt.
Yellow tape.
A lot of dirt.
You're going to see a lot of dirt. You're going to see a lot of the things with the flashing lights on them, and it's under construction, and we've got to give them a vision of what it's going to be ultimately, and digital can do that.
Yeah, and you can certainly do that through promoted communities, and we'll take a look at some of that here on a couple of these next slides. So this is a video that we snapped of their of their community page, their promoted community page here. When you pull it up, This particular community is in Pennsylvania, New Freedom, Pennsylvania, kind of near the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. And this is our PC product for Keystone. So you can see the description of the community on the right. You can link to the builder website. There's a direct call to action to contact the builder. And then there's a link to the community page on here. And then we can see some of the available homes that are available in this particular community. So there it is right there, the floor plan. Great photography on there. And when you click on that, you saw that same technology that we showed you a couple slides ago, really helping that builder decide if this is, this house is going to be their next home.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite pieces of technology. And it came to light. It was one of the few blessings from COVID is we've got this kind of accelerated tech build out, and our interactive floor plans were on Zillow's roadmap for a while. And then 2020 hit and it just got catapulted into a priority list, and we launched it. And I think it is one of the coolest ways that you can envision yourself in a home.
And they've got dozens and dozens of properties in this specific community that have this sort of build out in terms of the different elevations of the home and the floor plan variability and interior and exterior tours.
Yeah, the design options here, and they do a really nice job of giving the potential buyer an idea of what the different exterior design options look like. So again, pull those up, find something that you're looking for. You can see the floor plan here, even on this buildable plan.
Yeah.
And really get a good feel for it. So they're doing a really nice job with that.
What do we know about lift for this kind of approach versus more, run-of-the-mill or entry-level approach? I mean, in terms of views, engagement, lead generation, et cetera.
It's phenomenal, the lift that you get. So you get 68% more views for properties that have 3D tours versus not, and 38% more saves. So it's pretty significant lift, and you really can't, this tells me you can't afford not to have this on your listing because you need to get those eyeballs to your listings.
There's a substantial work investment for the builder to create these assets. What is that? Do we have a sense of what that looks like? And I think my larger question is, what is the portability of those assets, or can they be? Are these same assets used at the builder's website? This is one of my key areas that I'm drilling down on, because we talk to a lot of the asset producers in conjunction with our events and such. And like, if I were obtaining those assets, I'd want them to be able to be multi-purpose. Do you guys have any sense for the shared utility of these sorts of assets on their websites and such?
You mean you want to recreate the wheel each and every time you have a buildable plan or available home? No, we wouldn't want you to either. No, they're definitely portable, and you can reuse them across several different homes and plans.
Zillow has a company called Listing Media Services. What I like about Listing Media Services is it's been Zillowified, meaning it's been scaled and it's now very cost effective. So we reduced the cost burden to getting builders to use this kind of technology because we know buyers want it. So Listing Media Services licenses these photos back to the builder. They can use them wherever they'd like. If they want to put them on their site, splash them onto our competitors, that's great. Because again, we know that consumers want this. Where we kind of run into an I don't know is the investment that these builders would make with another company, but you would definitely be advised to use somebody that's going to license the photos. And
so you have creative services, your content creation services that could feed these listings, but also end up being very portable assets.
Correct.
Are those used on a regular basis? I mean, is that a common part of your overall package of support to builders?
With Listing Media Services, we rolled out a new construction-specific version of that product early this year. So we started with, as we do with everything, we start with pilots and some early adopters to make sure that we're giving them what they want. And so we've had large builder partners using them throughout the year. We've taken the feedback, made it better and better. And now in 2025, we can really focus on getting adoption from a broader audience.
Let's look at the next one. Sterling Hills by Richmond, America. This one is in Silverdale, Washington, and very similar to Keystone. They're doing a lot of things right. Available homes, plans, 3D tours.
This is also a place where builders can really let the community shine. This is the home shopper's first introduction to the community. So write a compelling description. Make sure that you're making a great first impression and making that buyer want to stay and keep looking through this community page.
But again, you can see some of the call to actions here where you can get in touch with the builder. You can go check out the builder's website right there as well. Direct links.
Zillow is one of the few sites where we're actually direct home shoppers to a builder's website. So we will take that home shopper off of Zillow and onto a builder's website, which is kind of unheard of in this world. But if a builder has a great website, not all websites are created equal. That's something good to know. But if a builder's got a great website, yeah, give the consumer what they want. Let them go explore on that builder's site and get to know them a little bit more.
All right, moving on to our final builder. Speaking of community, Trumark does a really nice job of building a sense of community in an online medium. So when you look at their websites, there's great videos, great images on their websites. And then when you get to their promoted community pages, it's the same thing. On the community pages, builders, they can host a video about that particular community. And we obviously recommend that they do that because, again, it's like Qadra said, it allows people to choose the way they want to navigate through that community. And video is a great way to do that. And this particular area, it's centered around lifestyle, golf, and it's south of the Denver metro area in an area called Castle Pines. And the sounds and, the video and all of it, they do a really, really nice job in this particular video.
Beautiful area, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
And so our data shows that 60% of new construction buyers are moving into a brand new subdivision. So we're not talking infill where there's mature trees. We're talking about something brand new that's probably still dirt, our favorite word today. And so highlighting community features and what they can expect when they buy into this community is critical, and just another piece to the puzzle of making a buyer more comfortable with buying a new construction product.
Like, I'm not a golfer, but I get the golf community now because you're able to build out part of the whole community flavor in advance if you build that golf course first, and then you're populating around it, and there's a finished piece there.
That's right.
Dirt is our theme today.
Yep. Well, and you'll notice too, I don't know if you saw it, but I mean, they don't just show golf in this video. They show the landscape, they show the trees, they show the mountains in the background, Mount Evans and pools, and I think there's even a pickleball, shot, which appeals, of course, to everybody.
Well, it's the only thing you can do with a glass of red wine in your hand. It's the only sport.
Look,
I will challenge you on that. I will challenge you. Look at that. Brand new pickleball courts. I mean, come on. Tennis courts.
What are the themes or patterns that emerge for you in terms of the stuff that's really working? Let's start.
It's all those things that we talked about, from dirt to emotions to, paragraphs and copy. It's eliciting emotion in your potential buyers and this audience that we talked about, in terms of there's so much momentum to these people who are starting their search online and at these portals. We've got to capture them somehow, some way. And we do it through all those things that we've talked about today. And if you don't know where to get started, obviously we have an entire team to help you get started on this, to help you really put your best foot forward in the virtual space.
I just go back to that cliche that you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think it's so important to put it all on the table and make sure that buyers have everything that they want. And I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier today. New construction has never been better poised to compete with used homes ever in history. We've got data showing that new construction is cheaper by the foot in most markets right now. You've got all the technology to compete with used homes, to give buyers that sense of what it's going to be like to live in one of your homes. So now is the time to take advantage of it because you've got the upper hand.
My takeaways are there's a lot of work to do, right? That is a lot.
Sure.
To get those things right. It's worth it. but there's a lot to do. I think that there's a lot to do. We shouldn't forget about the emotion piece because we're doing so much hard technical work. I'm so happy that the home building industry has resources like you all who are thinking so hard and long about these challenges and how to help builders work through them, and really sees that opportunity that you noted up in your closing remarks, Qadra. So really appreciate the tour. And that's it for episode number 3 on the Zillow New Construction Builder Innovator Trendline series. See you next time.